Good morning and welcome. It's a chilly morning, but we've got some pretty cool things that are happening today. We've got some amazing panelists who are going to be giving us a little bit more insight with regards to Telco and their role, its role in media and advertising. I'm pretty sure you've heard the phrase, the world is your oyster, growing up, but no one ever tells you how to open it, right? No one gives you the tools, like how do you actually open this thing? And once you do open it, how do I flavor it? How do I get the right combination, right? There's a little bit of Tabasco sauce, there's a little bit of lemon, a grind or two of pepper. And that's exactly what's happening right now. Media has diversified, whether it's traditional media, digital. So what's the right mix for you? What's the right amount of Tabasco sauce? Is it telco? Is it digital? Is it a little bit more traditional? We're going to find out what the role of all of this is and how it combines and how we can optimize your business in terms of sales and advertising. We've got different people from different parts of the digital and media world who are going to be giving us a little bit more of those insights. Thank you so much to our partners, Vodacom, Easy Ads, Everlytic, Proudly SA, Media Shop, and Wan Erfra for making this possible. And thank you for tuning in and being part of this. Remember that you can touch base with us at any time. Send those questions in. We've got Kirsten, Benjamin, Denver, Cindy, and Sarah all waiting to answer. And throughout the conversation, we're going to be weaving those in and getting those questions out to them and getting those answers back to you so we can have a nice conversation and maybe walk out of this, not just a little bit stronger, but definitely a lot wiser about the strategies that we can use for advertising, marketing, and making sure that we are optimum in our businesses. So our guest this morning, Benjamin Formula, he's the head of global partnerships at SSA Google. Denver Daniels, sales head at Vodacom Digital Advertising. Cindy Snow, also from Vodacom. She is the head of marketing for Vodacom Digital Advertising. Kirsten Trikelitis, who's the co-founder and CEO of Out There Media. En Sarah Utermark, als je een beetje meer Nederlands wil gaan, director, and she's also part of Mobile Marketing Association. Good morning and welcome, guys.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
Let's kick things off and let's get straight to the heart of the matter. What is the role of telco in media and advertising? Benjamin, let's start off with you. What's your version? What do you think the role is?
Yes, hi, good morning. This is Benjamin. I'm joining you from sunny Spain, even though I'm German. To that question, I think right now the telco industry is equipped to take a really significant part in the media industry based on the data that is available. So user data, really strong first-party data sets. All the platforms available, whether this is text advertising or display advertising, video advertising, and so on, and also the toolbox and reporting tools that are available. So I believe telco players in South Africa and also globally are in a really good position to take a really significant part in the media industry today and also tomorrow.
Denver, what are your thoughts being a player in South Africa that, I mean, now we're global with Vodafone as Vodacom. So what are your thoughts on that?
I have to absolutely agree with what Benjamin said. I think the telco at the moment is positioned absolutely perfectly to make a significant impact in the media industry. We as Vodacom, we've been in this space for many, many years, and we've been predominantly focusing on text communication. But I think more importantly, the role of the telco at the moment is that we have the ability to address an audience that was seemingly almost unaddressable in the past. And I think to Benjamin's point, where he said first-party data, absolutely key. Innovative new platforms, that forms a big part of it. Also, innovating on existing platforms. So text communication, really innovating on the way that we are communicating out with customers over the text channel, building out new and really exciting display channels. And also let's not forget video. I think, people engage so much more with video. And if you can add video and high engagement channels into that, I think it just creates an opportunity for the telco to be a huge player in the space. So I'm very excited about it.
So Vodacom will put things together, develop it, and then it's your job, Cindy, to market it and get it out there to the people. So what are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. So look, the lines between digital and mobile has become completely blurred. And us as marketers need to communicate at all different levels, regardless of your lifestyle or your position in the economy. It's about getting the message out there and target to an audience that makes sense to them. And that's what it's about.
You know, when we first started getting cell phones, they were pretty basic, and then software started developing a little bit more. And one of the first softwares that you encountered was Opera. What is this? And we've definitely got someone who works with not just Opera, but mobile marketing associations also in terms of getting it out there. So Sarah, what are your thoughts around this?
I think actually the operators are in a really strong position. Firstly, they've got the mass scale and reach. And I think one of the biggest challenges when it comes to mobile marketing is the pool of, you know, recipients and customers that brands can access. So I think operators, in terms of their scale, is definitely a big strong point. But for operators to package up their products in a way that allows brands to continue that conversation with their customers is what I think the space that the telcos need to be sort of working towards. It's the first party data, it's a scale and reach, and how brands can continue that conversation going forward.
Kirsten.
I couldn't agree more. It's the combination of reach and targeting that the telcos have, and especially looking at those pure first-party deterministic data. The telcos have the historic opportunity to create a true alternative for advertisers, a true alternative to the duopoly. And that is what the world has been waiting for, and that is what the big brand advertisers such as Unilever, Procter & Gamble, who are the biggest spenders in the world, are actually looking at. And that is that gap that the telco can fulfill.
Well, Kirsten, let's kick things off with you. What is RCS, Rich Communication Services? What exactly is that? Everybody's talking about communicating and marketing, but let's get down to the basics. What is RCS?
Thank you so much. So in fact, to quote you, this is, the world is your oyster. RCS could be the game changer, we believe is the game changer the industry has been waiting for. RCS stands for Rich Communication Services. It has been developed by the mobile operator community and is the new standard of messaging, really. It's the evolution of SMS, providing a native, trusted environment that turns messaging into an interactive, actionable, feature-rich experience. So you have to imagine that RCS brings functionality of messaging apps like iMessage, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, directly to the native messaging app built into your phone. Over the next 24 months, all new handsets will have RCS automatically in there. There's no need for the user to download anything. So you have a totally trusted, rich messaging experience owned by the telco, automatically on your handset without you having to download anything. It's the telco's answer to the messengers, to the OTT messengers. And the telcos now have a very, very attractive, extremely attractive channel in their hands again. RCS combining the best of two worlds, reach and universality of messaging, and richness and interactivity of basically rich media. One last data point here. Today, we have 1 billion RCS users in the world. Over the next 5 years, 5 billion people in the world will use RCS on their phones. 5 billion, that makes RCS the single biggest medium in the world. And guess what? Vodacom is one of the innovation leaders in the world. Vodacom is the first telco in Africa that has RCS live. It's fantastic. We are, by the way, the technology behind Vodacom's mobile advertising services, and hence also behind RCS. And it was with Vodacom that the first large-scale RCS campaigns were launched globally. So the first large-scale big brand RCS campaigns, we did that together with Disney and McDonald's in South Africa. So Vodacom is one of the leaders in the world in that whole RCS space.
So Sarah, when you have everything at your fingertips and RCS is changing the game where you don't need to download anything anymore, it's literally right there. How do you curate content as a business, as a client, to make sure that your message punches through with everything at everyone's fingertips?
I think that's actually one of the biggest challenges, is the speed at which the content can be adapted and reach to the consumers, in terms of that space from the point at which the brand comes up, with the strategy with the agency, it gets signed off, and then it's the development of that content, the cost of that content, and how it can then be sort of marketed through the various channels to reach the consumer. And it's one of the biggest challenges, certainly at the moment, where we're all under a lot of financial and economic constraints and challenges. The creative concepts are so hugely important with mobile, high impact and high engagement. So it's how can we do it in a cost-effective way, and how can that content be personalized to create sort of maximum impact? And I think that's where we're sort of battling with, in terms of the marketeers and the agencies, is to come up with ideas that can resonate well to the customers, and what telcos, platform providers, whether it's Facebook, Google, can do to help support that and bridge that time gap to get that message out as quickly as possible. But I know RCS is actually, MMA Global are tabling it with the board of directors in the States, and it's taken off hugely over there. It's done really well, and brands have got some great case studies in terms of performance, and it's only just started to filter through into this country here. So we're expecting good things in 2021, I'm sure.
Denver, you, Vodacom, being the first in South Africa to bring RCS across, utilizing that, optimizing business. What are some of the things that we can look forward to around RCS's use and strategy around advertising?
So I think the great opportunity with RCS is to Kirsten's point, and also to what Sarah mentioned, is the ability for us to be creative in the messaging, going out and having really good first-party data directly from the devices. I think the one nice thing is that Vodacom, because we have such a huge amount of first-party data, we actually speak to real people. It's a person connected to a device. It's not a cookie. It's not a laptop or some kind of piece of web or tech that you're chatting to. You actually are connecting with the real person. And so therefore, with all the triggers that come back from that, you can really build out some smart engagement strategies. And I think for us, from a sales perspective, and presenting this to brands that are in dire needs of actually, number one, speaking with and I keep coming back to that kind of the broader mass audience, and not just the people in South Africa that are, on 4G, really smart devices and can afford, fancy internet connectivity. But you're speaking to the masses. You're speaking to people that are on the day-to-day, out and about, running their lives with the devices that they live their lives from. They connect with every single day. They share, they talk, they communicate. And if we have the ability to be relevant in the advertising, be absolutely present in that moment when they are making a decision, whether to walk into one shop versus another, or buy one product versus the next, I think that is really powerful from a sales and from an advertising perspective with Vodacom.
When you wanted something back in the day, a little bit of information, you'd go and whip out an encyclopedia. It would be this big. Yeah. And there were different ones that you wanted each year. Yes. And if you wanted to find out a little bit more about a business, you would get the yellow pages that was delivered at the beginning of the year. It was this thick, and you would go through it. But now you just need to go to Google. And I can Google what I want. I can Google a significant other, perhaps a potential. I can Google what business I want to engage business with, if I want to find out a little bit more about them before I start getting in their ratings, all of that. So in terms of getting out there, whether it's on your fingertips, whether it's on a computer, whether all of this word of mouth, a lot of it starts with searching for the information. And that's where Google kicks in. So how does Google optimize me as a business? How do I make sure that I can use the tools that Google has to make sure that my business comes up tops, comes up as relevant, comes up with the right messaging that I'm trying to get out to people? Benjamin.
Thanks, Kenzie. No, we do have a full product suite for that. So it is called Google Ads, where you target users and that are searching for specific keywords on Google. And the great thing about this is you can directly respond to that question, right? It's not like you're browsing some content on the internet and on the side you see some advertising that might be relevant or not, but you're searching for something specific. There's some intent. You're searching for a product, you're searching for a person, you're searching for a job, or whatever it is. and we give brands the chance to actually respond to that question and come up with a relevant ad for that.
You know, the word content has come up quite a bit throughout the conversation, and it is key. It's the crux of it all. It's the seed that gets you going, right? If you get the right content, you reach the right market comes back and buys your product or engages with your product or your business, whatever it might be. So Cindy, how do we advertise? How do we market? How do we conceptualize the right kind of content for the market?
That's a very good question. So my personal view is always, so all these fantastic tools and ways to market, to reach your audience is there for the marketers to use. And the point that you need to stay relevant to your audience of what you want to say and be creative. I mean, we're bombarded with ads and messages all the time. So how do you get your audience attention and stay relevant? And I think it's different for every brand, and it's all about how relevant you are and how you want to connect to that audience. We are just giving you the means to speak to them, but it's up to you how creative you want to be with your messaging. And I've seen some fantastic campaigns out there, especially with COVID-19 and creativity, vehicles being branded with masks on it, which is also an avenue. It's just how do we connect that digitally and with text.
So Sarah, in a time like this where the world is at home for the most part, the world is trying to find out information, trying to engage, brands are trying to get out there with limited budgets that you spoke about a little bit earlier, constrained times at the moment. How do you get that message out there?
I think, yeah, at the moment, brands are certainly being very careful. From the ones I've spoken to, a lot are seeing huge value in terms of marketing to their first-party customer base. So what I mean by that is brands are doing a lot in terms of building effort around understanding who their customers are through development of customer data platforms. They'll start profiling a lot deeper, and they'll start remarketing and marketing to that customer base. And that's not necessarily through just direct marketing channels, but what they would do is work with platforms and companies like Google and Facebook, and possibly telcos, to understand what data matches are in play that allows them to continue that conversation outside of their own ecosystem of marketing and communications within their business. So that's why I think a lot of understanding around brands' customers are really important. When it comes to understanding an ROI, for example, they need to know what their customer lifetime value is. So they need to understand how much revenue their customer is bringing in, how often they return back to the business to, buy some cereal or, that sort of thing. So it's really about brands building a deeper understanding of who their customers are and working very closely with the platform providers to help them market and continue that communication. And agencies still play a really crucial role in facilitating that whole process. So yeah, that's my view on that.
So the first step is to have a deep dive and an understanding, a true understanding of your market, being able to use that as your base across the board, whatever product it might be. If there's a change, if there's a new one that you're introducing, a deep dive and a deep understanding of the market is the best place to start off. A question for you, RCS, from someone who's watching. Kirsten, what is RCS in terms of how it operates? How does RCS work?
Brilliant. Thank you so much for the question. So messaging, right? The functionality of your WhatsApp, of your iMessage, or of your Facebook Messenger, but natively built in to the handset, all of that owned by the operator. And the key features, in fact, it's a bit more than the OTT, the classical messengers. Key features include, obviously, video, carousels, customized branding by the brand, so you get a verified sender, real-time true metrics from the, powered by the telco. So it's back to Denver's point, it's real people, it's real users. 100% brand safety. There's not even a chance that this could appear somewhere next to some hate speech or unsafe environments. 100% viewability. Nobody can say that. No digital medium can say 100% viewability today. You can send URLs, you have maps, you have location, real-time location. And then there's also a payment function. So basically you'll be able to pay products and services directly onto your phone bill, from your phone bill. Credit card is something everybody can do, but actually charging your phone bill, because it's the trusted operate environment, is something nobody else can do. So it's kind of, here's the OTT messengers, and then this is RCS. More functionality, more reach, eventually 5 billion people. And I want to say kind of probably the most important things and why brands are starting to shift their digital spend to RCS. Today, in the digital world, let's look at the simple banner. We are looking at an average click-through rate of 0.1%. That means that on every 100 Rand spent, 99.9 Rand are wasted. I spoke about the first big large-scale RCS campaigns before. That was with Disney and McDonald's via our platform on Vodacom. And we had read rates of 75%. We had conversion rates of thereafter 5%. In the case of Disney, we were selling Lion King movie tickets over the RCS experience on Vodacom. In the case of McDonald's, we were selling hamburgers over the RCS experience. Mobile Squared, who's the leading analyst house in the world in messaging, they're based out of London, has calculated that the ROI on those two first global RCS campaigns, large-scale campaigns, is 2,500%. So think about that. Wasting 99.9 Rand on a simple banner, on a banner of 100 Rand versus 2,500% ROI with 100% viewability, brand safety, and all the rich media functionalities. That's why I mean, and that's what I said before, this is the game changer that the industry has been waiting for. And Sarah, I have to jump in what you said before. The US is not ahead of South Africa in RCS. In fact, we are, those Disney and McDonald's campaigns, we presented them at a keynote at the Mobile World Congress in Los Angeles in October. So that was the Mobile World Congress that was not canceled, right? That was 4 months before Corona. So that was in October, where we presented together with Vodafone and others. And those two South African Vodacom campaigns were hyped in the US like no other. And it was AT&T and Verizon and Sprint and T-Mobile coming to us saying, whoa, can we replicate this in the US? Whoa, we have never seen this before. The RCS has been around, but it has never been used, or it's only starting to be used now by big brands. In fact, and I think that's the most important, the spend comes from the digital media spend. So not the customer care spend, not the direct messaging spend, it comes from the digital media spend, which today in the world is $300 billion, 50% of total advertising spend goes to digital. Mobile Squared, again, that analyst house, forecasted 20% of that digital pie, 20% will shift to RCS over the next 5 years. So we're talking about a complete industry change here. And it's owned by the telcos. And the telcos has this historic opportunity to use all of their fantastic assets, their data, their targeting capabilities, their reach, now with an extremely attractive format and channel, which is RCS.
So Denver, on the back of what Kirsten just spoke about now, how does a RCS work in terms of me as a brand? So a question that's come through, does a subscriber need to use their data and airtime? You're rolling it out in South Africa. to view RCS content? How does it work? Is it just automatic? How does it work?
So at the moment, the way the platform would work is there is a data component depending on the messaging or the format that's being pushed through the platform. But I think more excitingly is the fact that Vodacom is actually working on a really nice zero rating project at the moment. At the moment, it doesn't necessarily include RCS, but the thing is with the zero rating capability that we're working on is that we are working together with Google to actually zero rate advertising for brands on our, and then also programmatically for brands that are going to look for customers and then want to engage with them and present them with an ad and then actually make it possible for them to then click on the ad, engage on it, and that first click that goes out as well is then also zero rated. So I think that's a huge plus from the telco side, and especially the partnership with Google to get that going and to get that off the ground. I think it is definitely going to be a game changer in the sense that that will increase the scale of the audience, because if you're looking at people that are engaging with content on their devices, whether it's advertising content, if you see an ad on a publisher's site, and at that particular moment in time when you do not have data on your device, you essentially lose that user to click them out. Now that could possibly be the same for RCS. You have this wonderful engagement. If the user, at that particular moment in time does not have data on their device, you're going to lose, the brand is going to lose that click out to their landing page or to their site. So this project with Google is very exciting, and it's something that will be launched very soon. And I think it's going to be a huge game changer in the way that we're able to actually bring value to the brands to engage with an audience one more time.
So we'll touch base with Benjamin around that in a moment. But Cindy, you are going to be out here taking that brand through to not just taking content from brands and taking it through to customers. That zero rating has got to be a very attractive offer for brands as well, as an option for you to go out and say, I can stay connected with my audience without them having any data.
Yes, and I think it's relevant because I think with Vodacom, zero-rated platforms has very much been a double-edged sword. You got the awareness going and people really got to know about your products and services. But when it came to actually clicking on the banner and getting traffic to your landing page to generate leads or close that deal, the experience had a bit of a drop-off rate. Now with the zero rating platform, this actually has increased that click-through rate up to 70%. And the data speaks for itself of what impact it could have on the advertising and branding industry.
Benjamin, so teaming up with telcos, you're literally the first port of call is Google for anything around the world, whether you're sitting in Mumbai, whether you're sitting in Nkandla, whether you're sitting in Madrid, that is the first port of call. So teaming up with the telco and the different telcos to make sure that they can optimize. Tell us a little bit more around that.
Yeah, no, I think especially in South Africa or Africa in general, zero-rated platforms are very important because I think now within the, Denver mentioned it, the question mentioned data as well. There are many users who either do not have data at all, or they do have a data package which allows them to use less than 500 megabytes. So they will be very data conscious, and browsing the internet for content is probably not the first thing they will do. They probably use it for instant messaging and stuff like that, right? And especially during these difficult times right now, during COVID-19, it is very important to keep users connected and to give them access to educational content, work-related content, personal health content. And that's just from a user perspective, right? And I think Vodacom did a great job together with all the other telcos to zero-rate most of the educational platforms in South Africa. And also there's Connect You of Vodacom that gives you that zero-rated access. But now also adding the advertiser component is a big step, right? Because as an advertiser these days, reaching users that are not online or would not access any content where you show your ads is a big problem, because normally you would potentially use out-of-home advertising for that. But if we look at the latest mobility reports, there's not that many people in the streets right now, and many people are not at their workplace, or they're commuting less. They are not using public transport, which is like one of the key vehicles for out-of-home advertising. So this really offers brands a nice opportunity to reach those specific users, and this is why we teamed up with Vodacom to make this available. And it might sound really easy, zero-rating the advertiser URL, but it is quite complex, and it required many Google teams internally to make that happen. We had one tech lead working on that pretty much 24/7 together with our engineering team in the US. And also within Vodacom, there were many people involved who worked really hardly to make this happen, and also external consultants. So yes, this is a really exciting project.
Well, it is all about reaching markets. It's about reaching your customer, and we've got 50,000 rands worth of advertising to give away. And this is how you could win it. Yes, you watching right now, hanging out with Benjamin in Denver, Sarah and Kirsten. This is how it happens. All you need to do is go to the webpage. There's a button there, enter, and you could win 50,000 rands worth of advertising with Vodacom and the future of media. So go to the webpage. There'll be a button there, and you can enter the competition right there. The winner will be announced at the end of this event. 50,000 rand can go a long way, especially in these tight times. You can push it, you can pull it. You can put it on RCS. It's available in South Africa now. You can put it on Google Ads. You can use it for whatever way works best for your business. But it's end of the day, you want return on investment, right? That's the big thing as a business. You want to be able to go there, spend your buck, and make sure you get as much of that back, if not more so. Return on investment is a big thing for any business. Sarah, when you have a campaign, a media campaign of some kind, that's one of the first things. When I spend 100,000 rand, how much of it is going to be able to bring back into my business? So when you measure that, how do you scale and measure a successful media campaign, particularly online, particularly if it's digital?
Well, the good news is mobile is very measurable. That's the first step. Yeah, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's first, brands need to know, what their customer lifetime value is in terms of how much revenue they bring in, how often they return. And the other one, which often gets overlooked, is the cost of that customer acquisition. What is the brand willing to put a pay for that, acquiring that new customer? So at the end of the day, brands want to either acquire customers or retain customers. With mobile, you can, whether it's SMS, whether it's display, whether it's video, whether it's social media channels, it is extremely measurable. So you can attribute what you are spending back to that customer on mobile. And I think now more than ever, with the rise of m-commerce, it's always been around, but the scale at which m-commerce has really catapulted this year has seen the measurability from the point at which a user starts engaging to the point of purchase is becoming more trackable, and that also helps brands, because at the end of the day, brands need to justify very quickly how much they're spending in any given quarter, and that's where we're seeing also it's sort of veering off towards more revenue being sort of plummeted through sort of performance advertising. And you mustn't lose sight, I think, of the impact of brand advertising as a sort of complement to performance advertising. So yes, I think the ROI for mobile is measurable, and I think mobile is underutilized in that respect. So we hope we're going to see sort of growth on mobile coming into next year.
So how would you advise a brand, Sarah, with regards to a campaign? How do I measure, and how would you advise me as a business to get the most out of a particular campaign, or the most out of the data that I might have, whether it's third-party data or using RCS? How do I utilize that to the best of my capability as a business?
Yeah, I think firstly, be really clear on the KPIs and the metrics, and have that translated very clearly through to the buying agency, who translates that very clearly to the platform owners. I think often there's a disconnect between conversations that start from what a chief marketing officer needs to be ticking off in terms of his KPIs versus to the brand manager, and then the brand manager filtering through to the agency. So having transparency across the value chain on those KPIs will help everyone do a better job. I think that's the first thing. The second thing is getting an understanding of your metrics in terms of the cost per acquisition and the cost for retaining a customer, and have that part of the KPIs and I think just everyone working together and trying to align. But brands, there was a great case study actually for Time Bank that launched last year. So Time Bank had no benchmark. They had no understanding of who their market was. They're coming into the market with no customer information. So they were literally starting from scratch. And Louisa Mazinta, who's chair emeritus for the MMA, she was the chief marketing officer for Time Bank at the time. And she was saying, how do you start? Do you start with doing a nationwide brand awareness campaign to attract and acquire new customers? Or do you start local and focus on people within a certain community and start building from the ground up? And actually, they did the local first. They built very small, and then they sort of escalated. They ran performance advertising as well as brand awareness. She had one agency that did all the creatives for mobile. They created 189 different ad units for the campaign on different banner ads and interstitials. And what was interesting, she said, was the minute they switched off the brand advertising and just left the performance advertising to run, it impacted the performance. So they saw a drop off in new customers coming on because the brand awareness campaign fell away, essentially. And brand awareness could have been radio, billboards with no direct call to action, but it was just sort of reinforcing the strength of what Time Bank was offering. So the learnings of that was very much for a brand is to always look at a brand and performance in complementary. Brands are under pressure to show return within a quarter. Brand advertising takes a little bit longer to show that return, but don't lose sight of the power of both of them.
I love how they started small, started with a particular and then moved across. And I want to ask a question, kicking off with Kirsten in a moment, around personalizing RCS and personalizing messaging. But Cindy, you wanted to say something.
Just to complement Sarah's comment there, when it comes to marketing and branding, it's all about feeding that funnel, right? And that top funnel layer is always awareness, and that attaching your brand message and the core message for your brand in that awareness layer is vital to start feeding that funnel to get those conversions and lead generations going. So absolutely align with Sarah's comment.
We got a question in for you, Cindy. What is the delivery mechanism of RCS for Vodacom? So how is that going to be delivered?
How's that going to be delivered?
Yeah, what is the delivery mechanism? Yeah.
Are you asking about the technology that sits behind it? Because it basically gets delivered via the same way that you get an SMS today, right? That experience is just going to become more rich and more engaging. So instead of it just being text, there'll be an image attached to it, a video, you'll be able to click on it, it'll go to a landing page, you'll be able to ask questions, interact with the brand at that level. So, but for the technology that sits behind that, I think Kirsten needs to take that one up for brands to get a better understanding on that.
All right, Kirsten.
Yeah. Thank you. So, go ahead.
No, please go ahead. Please continue.
So exactly as Cindy said, instead of receiving an SMS, you're receiving an RCS. So you're receiving a rich message, and then carousels follow, videos, interactions, always in the same environment until the buy button in the same environment again, path to purchase, like an unbroken environment end to end, completely branded and made available by Vodacom in that case, or by the mobile network operator. The technology behind it is our platform in Vodacom South Africa, and across the Vodafone group and across approximately 40 telcos in the world, is our platform Movax that takes care of all the technology behind Vodacom's mobile advertising stack. Of course, there we're also connected with Google. And so if you are a brand or an agency, you're coming, for example, to us and say, okay, here's my brand brief. Disney said it was very simple. It was the easiest pitch of my life. We just told Disney and McDonald's about the functionality. Disney said, fantastic, we're launching the Lion King movie in a few weeks' time. We want to achieve two things. One is distribute the trailer of the movie, create awareness for that trailer, distribution of the trailer, and then sell tickets. So we created, in RCS, it's called an RCS chatbot. So we are creating those chatbots where then you're receiving, as Cindy said, an RCS, and then a chatbot experience starts, leading to download the trailer, get the trailer here on the one hand, and then buy tickets for the movie. Now, because your first question, Kenzie, was basically around the interactivity that then follows and personalization. These chatbots are completely personalizable, as in depending on your answers, it takes different routes, and all of that is automated. So if we're coming out with a very big RCS campaign in the next 2 weeks for the World Health Organization, a Corona campaign, the first global RCS, the first global mobile campaign that the WHO is running for Corona, that will be with us, and it will be RCS. And of course, Vodacom again will be at the forefront there as one of the leaders in RCS in the world. So in that specific, I'll give that as an example, in that specific Corona campaign where it depends on, we're asking about symptoms, right? People experiencing Corona symptoms, what happens? And then you interact with that chatbot. Depending on your answers, you get different advices and it takes you to different routes. And so there's nothing more personalized around, right? Depending on exactly how and what time of the day you interact, what your answers are, is how then the chatbot is being trained on answering.
Right.
Machine learning and so on. And there's one more thing here on Vodacom's base. So obviously in RCS, we, like in any push messaging, you need opt-ins. This is really, really important. This is in Europe, it's even more strict when it comes to GDPR, but also POPI compliance is a must, obviously, and therefore you need opt-ins. Vodacom has those opt-ins. So what we've done is we took Vodacom's opt-in base, that is anyway sitting in integrated with our technology, and then overlaying the RCS users of that opt-in base. And it is a significant number in South Africa. I'm not allowed to say the exact number, but it's a few millions of opted-in RCS users today. So Vodacom has one of the biggest opt-in base in relative terms compared to their overall subscriber base, again, in the world. So I hope that answers it. You come to us, you're a brand or an agency. Come to us, we create your chatbot on the Vodacom environment. Everything else is taken care of. Targeting, personalization, the opt-ins, POPI compliant, the entire end-to-end flow. And yeah.
Benjamin? Thanks, Kirsten.
Thank you very much, Kenzie. I just wanted to add to Kirsten's point a few thoughts, and that is, if you look at Vodacom, they can really cover the entire funnel for you, right? So RCS is an amazing tool for one-to-one communication with the user, but you can also combine it with the entire marketing channels that Vodacom has available, right? So for example, you're watching a TV ad of a new car on your connected TV, then you're being retargeted on your browser when you read news content, and they offer you a test drive maybe, right? And then as a last instance, you receive an RCS actually targeting you directly, asking like, hey, Kenzie, how do you like this new Range Rover? What about the test drive tomorrow? And you can come to my specific dealership, which is just around the corner, right? So you start very high in the funnel and you go down, down, down. And with RCS, you can really close the deal in the end of the day.
Cindy.
Yes, so I have to do this, otherwise I won't be doing my job as the marketing person, right? So if brands or agencies are interested in going through the RCS experience or booking, this is not officially launched yet, but if you want to be one of the first brands to take advantage of it, please send us an email at digitaladvertising@vodacom.co.za, and we'll definitely put you on the list. That's one. And if you want to get more information about what Vodacom inventory and advertising looks like, you can go to our website. Easy way to get there is www.easyads.media.
Perfect. Denver.
But
Hi, I just
easy
wanted to-
with EZI, I think, Cindy.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
EZI.
EZI ads.
EZI ads. Thanks, Kirsten. Perfect.
I just wanted to add on to what Benjamin said about, you know, the way that we engage with a client, with a customer on a brand's perspective. I think the other thing that is really exciting in the Vodacom stable is that we actually have the ability to actually close that loop with regards to the way that we engage with customers. So from what Kirsten was touching on with regards to the creation of the RCS messaging, setting up the chatbot, getting out and actually making sure that all the targeting and audiences and everything has been set up, to Sarah's point about making sure the creative is really spot on and actually the targeting is really good. And then at the end, we also have the ability through a vouchering and rewards business that we have to actually give their customer a physical reward. Now, that could be a physical voucher or digital voucher, but also added onto that, we could also give the customer a lifestyle voucher. So in other words, we have many channels that we've built over the years as part of the broader digital ecosystem. So we have a very nice video platform that we have. We've got a music platform that has grown quite nicely and aggressively. And so what we are able to do is we can actually match the type of digital gift or voucher or reward to the journey that the brand is wanting to actually give to that customer. So if it's a customer that would be interested in a more of a kind of a lifestyle kind of reward, we can add that reward onto the back of the entire campaign to actually close that loop. And I think that has not been possible in past digital marketing and advertising campaigns. We talk about the click, we talk about the engagement, we talk about the targeting, and we talk about, you know, getting in front of the right audience, but to be able to measure how many of those people actually, as an example, to Kirsten's point with McDonald's, how many of those people walked into a physical McDonald's or even went onto an app and ordered McDonald's based off a digital reward that was offered as part of the campaign? That is something that Telco can do. And I think that is very powerful and something that is really exciting as well.
So I think to break it down very basically, if you're trying to find out a little bit more about RCSs, which sounds like a really exciting product, a really exciting way of engaging with people. When you were younger, you could go to the library and you say, I need a really good book to read. And the librarian says, hey, go over there, there's a book that you can read. It's this particular book, and that would be Google. And then you get there, you pick up the book, and there you look at it, and it's amazing. It looks, and that would be Sarah, because she's put it together in a certain way for you to package that. And as you go through it, there's different ways that you can choose, A or B, in terms of which direction you're going to go. If you want to go this way of the story, then you choose A and you go to page 3. If you want to go this way, you go to page 8. And it personalizes your journey with the different versions all the way through the book. So there's different ending with the different things. And that's exactly what RCS kind of works like. As you're going through, you're choosing based on how you're feeling, how you're going to go and navigate through this particular book. And that's how it's going to work across from pictures to campaigns, to video, to perhaps podcasts, to music, whatever it might be. And it all comes through in a little portal that's already on your phone, waiting for you to press, engage, and navigate. That's essentially, I think, the basics of. Did I get that right? I need to ask the experts between Sarah, Denver, Benjamin, and Kirsten. Cindy, is that correct, Kirsten?
You got it super right, and we could not have said it any better. The last one you will say on your little portal. It's actually more simple than that. Whatever your native SMS tray is today on your phone, right? Your native SMS tray is automatically converted overnight, you don't even notice, to an RCS tray on your existing phone, or if you buy a new handset, it's just your SMS tray will be an RCS tray. There will be no more SMS tray by itself. It's just then the new normal, right? So you don't even need to download, you don't need to go on any portals. It is your native SMS experience is now the RCS experience. And because you spoke about library, Kenzie, I want to give this audience here a sneak preview and a little bit of an advantage, an unfair advantage against your competitors. In 1 week, Mobile Squared is coming out with this report, RCS, the game changer the industry has been waiting for, with unbelievable statistics on where spend is migrating, why is that substantial, and so on. I have negotiated with Mobile Squared that the audience of this webinar here, of this event, of this fantastic event, will be receiving that brand report 2 days prior to it being officially launched. I'll make sure all of you here in the audience get a copy of that, of course, free of charge. Normally it's paid for. Of course, free of charge, which is the first ever research piece that was written on RCS targeted at brands and agencies. There's thousands of those targeted at the telco community and the mobile operator community, but this is the first one that actually goes directly to the media planner, the buyer, the trading desk of the agencies, and to the chief marketing officer or the brand manager at the brands. And you will receive that 2 days prior to the rest of the world. Of course, Cindy.
So great news. The results are in. Thank you everyone that has attended this event, and we are super proud to be associated with this event, with Arena. Just with that, the results are in from the competition, and the lucky winner for the 50,000 rands worth of digital advertising from Vodacom and the future of media is Chris. Sorry, I just need to get this right. Chris from D8 Media. Congratulations, someone from there at their media. We'll be in contact with you soon to give you all the details, and I will be personally also helping you setting up for the competition and get your campaigns going. All right, looks like Kenzie is back here. I will not be taking over her day job anytime soon. So hopefully she'll be back soon. Thanks.
Hey, I'm back. All right, sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. Are we still on? Are we done? Oh, we still on? All right. Okay. Cool. Right. Okay, cool. We'll do. You come in? Okay, cool. So we're back. See, that's what doesn't happen when, or that's what happens when you don't go down the right portal. So I went down the wrong rabbit hole and not the RCS rabbit hole. So on RCS, you'd be able to find your way to go and watch a video while you go there and watch some music. This won't happen. So Benjamin, Cindy, Sarah, Denver, and Kirsten, thank you so much for your time. It's been pretty exciting. New technology happens all the time. RCS sounds like a platform, a world that you can get lost in, that's safe, that can be zero rated, that can help you engage as a brand longer with your particular customer, to curate their personal experience along the way, using their information and ensuring that they get the most optimum information for you as a party, for whether it's data, so that you can use that to advertise to them better using Sarah or Cindy, or where Denver is able to make sure that he's pushing through things to you using Benjamin and his particular expertise as Vodacom and Google, and Kirsten being behind it all, making sure that not just 1 billion of us, a seventh of our population on the planet gets it, but everybody. It's going to be a game changer. And it seems that this is going to be the way of the future. So congratulations once again to Trevor, who won there the 50,000 Rand in advertising. Final thoughts for everyone across the board in terms of telco, their role in media. It's an exciting time. It's a stressful time. Maybe this is the way to be able to make sure that you curate and get the most bang for your buck. Is it what you think? Is this how we move and navigate telco in the world of advertising and media? Benjamin, what is the future for that as we wrap things up? Final thoughts.
No, it's very exciting times, and like we discussed during the whole right now, I think there's so many opportunities for brands to make a big impact working with Vodacom. But also now I want to take, with my final words, like a bit of a different angle, but also for content creators, right? Because in the end of the day, content is key. I think Bill Gates in the 90s said content is king. It's very important, and back then it was as relevant as it is today. And it's just the platforms that change, right? And especially with the 0 rating, I think there's so many collaboration opportunities for content creators to work with the big telcos and Vodacom to get their content to users that might not even know the brand or might not have the means to access it, which then ultimately will become very, very relevant for the advertisers as well. And whether then you round it up with a RCS message or whatever other remarketing tool, it is exciting times for the entire ecosystem, not only for brand advertisers and telcos.
Cindy.
Look, all I can say is watch out. There's a lot more coming. I think RCS is just the tip of the iceberg. There are many other projects that we're working on with Google and OTM that we are planning to take to market in the next year. So watch the space, guys. There's a lot of exciting stuff coming.
Exciting times for content creators. That's what Benjamin says. Sarah, you said content is key to all of this. So what are your final thoughts around this?
Final thoughts, collaboration, everyone work together to streamline those processes, and transparency. I think, if everyone's transparent in what they want to achieve, we'll get the job done, a lot quicker. Be mindful of where we're at in terms of economically. So if there's anything we can do to sort of protect revenue and cost, thing, but yeah, transparency, brand safe, and yeah, we've got some exciting things to come in 2021. I'm sure we all need it after this year.
We definitely do. Denver.
I think that the opportunity that the telco has in the media space is absolutely amazing. I think we are perfectly positioned to build out a really engaging ecosystem for brands as well as users to engage with. That goes beyond just messaging and engaging and consuming really good engaging content. It's about enabling for good activities. It's about being relevant in the lives of people, and I think there's a wonderful opportunity for the telcos to then play in the space where we can kind of get into that final mile, into the last mile of a user engagement journey, whether that be a RCS channel, whether it be other kind of text advertising, whether it's display that is 0 rated, whether it's video, whether it's enabling a small business via an easy ad, self-engagement, kind of buying yourself advertising. I think the space that the telco is taking in the media, in the advertising world, is a really, really exciting one. And like everyone said, I think some more exciting things are going to be on the horizon and launching very, very soon.
Kirsten, how do we wrap things up in terms of your views on this?
The telco has the 2 magical assets that brands and agencies want. It's reach and it's targeting. The telcos in South Africa are 4 times bigger than Facebook. The telcos in South Africa, or the 2 major telcos, are the biggest platform. And that is happening not in South Africa only, but everywhere. It's always the telcos that can reach everybody. Hence, it's about the empire striking back. That's the telco. And grabbing the fair piece of the digital media spend. For way too long, other people have been eating the telco's breakfast. It's time for the telco to actually claim that, own that category, because of the assets they have built, the trust, the fact that it's real people, it's real data, it's pure data, it's not convoluted, it's not created by bots. 50% of digital impressions are created by machines. Machines don't buy shampoos, hence the effectiveness of the classical digital spend is flattening, if not going down, as we heard before. 0.1% average CTR on a banner in digital, on a telco average CTR of 5, 7, 8%. Hence, it's time for the telco to put themselves back on the map in digital and claim a substantial stake of the digital media spend. And that's what we're here to help with. Cindy said before, OTM, so OTM stands for Out There Media. That's the company that I'm presenting here as CEO. I'm not sure everybody knows who OTM is. Yeah, and that's what we're here to do, to telco to claim their fair piece of the pie back.
So congratulations once again to Kristen Inga from Mediate Media for winning the 50,000 Rand advertising. Congratulations to you. Thank you so much to all of the panelists this morning. Kirsten quoted the Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, right? That's Star Wars. Yeah? Yes. So I'm going to quote another classic, I think the greatest movie of all time, Toy Story, To Infinity and Beyond. That is actually where you need to take your business, and you can with all the tools available that we spoke about this morning. Traditional media is still strong, still has a place, whether it's billboards, whether it's radio, whether it's television. This is a great complement, takes it directly to the people, and that brand messaging that Sarah was talking about, keeping that constant no matter where it is. So when someone sees that RCS message come through, they still recognize you from TV and radio and billboards and seeing you everywhere where it might be. It's all a circle that comes together, closing that loop, as Denver mentioned, making sure you stay connected, as Benjamin mentioned, and Cindy making sure that you get the message out there, and Kirsten making sure that the technology is there so that everybody gets what they need to get across the board. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for being a part of this particular morning with us. Benjamin, Cindy, Sarah, Denver, and Kirsten, I thank you personally. Have a fantastic day. Goodbye.